Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale, and guess what? It is another Night Witch video. Now don't worry guys, not all my videos are going to be on the Night Witch. She is such an incredibly powerful card that, you know, I have to share. I have to share some of the best decks using her, but suffice it to say, we'll be covering a lot of non-Night Witch decks on this channel, and tomorrow's video, pretty sure it's going to be tomorrow, is going to be on a great Night Witch counter deck, okay? So don't worry, hang in there. If you haven't unlocked her yet, there's still a little bit of time after this video goes live, and I highly recommend you guys try the Night Witch challenges, or excuse me, try any new legendary challenge, anything where you're unlocking a card, especially if it's a one-time reward system, such as this challenge. Try them as close as possible to the end of the challenge. That's when the good players have already gone through it 1, 2, 3 times for all their accounts, and the player pool skill-wise is really watered down. It becomes much easier the longer you wait after the challenge releases. So anyway guys, the deck that we're going to be showing today, you guys just saw on the screen, it's Ale, back on the channel. He's one of the best Italian players out there. For my money, he's a really good challenge beast. I've had him on the channel before, sharing an insane minor deck that he brought to the channel. A lot of you guys like that one, but this deck we could be looking at the future of LavaHound decks right here, guys. I played this and I went 12-2 on my very first grand challenge, and I'm not a LavaHound player. In fact, we're going to start out with a replay of yours truly, and the beautiful thing about this deck is it counters everything. It handles almost everything in the meta. Even a big heavy golem beatdown with lightning and Night Witch, you can still do very well with this deck against that deck in the meta. Basically any Night Witch deck, I think this Night Witch deck maybe has the little slight edge. You guys can be the judge. Today we're going to cover all Ale's tips, and we're going to go ahead and share a bunch of replays against a bunch of pretty difficult matchups, including Splash Yard with Night Witch, Golem with Night Witch, basically graveyard decks, a lot of really good strong decks in the meta. So Night Witch, guys, I can already tell, if it hasn't started yet, which it probably has, there's going to be a contingency of the community with their pitchforks out calling for the nerf. A lot of people aren't happy with how strong she is. Me personally, maybe I'm just a glass half full guy. I'm sorry if you don't agree, but I like when a really strong card gets added to the game. It switches things up. People have to react. People have to start learning how to counter her and how to build their decks with answers to the Night Witch in their decks. So maybe she does need a nerf. I think she probably will, but in the meantime, I'm just enjoying the Night Witch because I think it's a really cool and unique card in the game. That's my take. Anyway, let's get into the deck tips before we get into the play-by-play on these replays. So really quickly here, offense on this deck, it's all about making a big swarm, a big stack of swarm troops behind the miner, behind the LavaHound. And with this deck, you can really bait out your opponent's poison or the direct damage spell, whatever they have for an answer to your swarm troops. You can even send in a miner goblin gang if you want to. We'll see Ale do that later on in the video to bait out that spell and then get a monster push with your LavaHound. The ideal push for this deck would be LavaHound, Night Witch, Baby Dragon, Miner, boom, game over, bye-bye. Now, I should mention defensively with this deck, if you're not comfortable taking damage or even losing a tower during the first 2 minutes of a match, this deck's not going to be one for you guys. You have to be comfortable using one of your crown towers, maybe even 2, as a resource. You have to be okay with taking damage with this deck. Just like any other beatdown deck, you have to use your towers as a resource, okay? So defensively versus heavy pushes, the Night Witch is your best weapon. Night Witch and Tombstone, okay? So against a Golem push or against another LavaHound, you just want to use your Night Witch in the back. Night Witch against tanks is amazing. Her bats do such good work. Even if your opponent has lightning, they'll kill the witch, but she spawns 2 bats before she dies, and then 4 bats when she dies, 6 bats and a Tombstone. That's going to be a lot to answer for your opponent. And with this deck against beatdown decks and a variety of different decks, you're going to want to be using your LavaHound as a defensive troop. That sounds kind of weird. It's not something we're used to, but the reason is because this is not one of those decks against beatdown decks where we're going to be switching lanes. You know, it's not a hog cycle deck. You're not going to be sending in your minor Goblin Gang once your opponent sends in a Golem on the opposite lane. I mean, you can to switch things up, but it's much better, Ale says, to just defend with your, set up your Tombstone, use your Night Witch, and then use your Lava Hound, you know, closer to the bridge to distract all the supporting troops while you kill the Golem with, you know, the Tombstone and the Night Witch, okay? So that's how you're going to deal with beatdown decks. Dealing with other decks, we're going to talk about, you know, you're looking at a Splash Yard deck, I think, right now. It's a Tornado Executioner deck, Night Witch. Night Witch is in pretty much every deck in the meta. She's quickly proving to be the strongest card ever added to the game, and I don't say that to be hyperbolic. I do say best deck ever on the name of the clan to be hyperbolic here, so let me kind of not confuse you guys too much. Essentially, just having some fun with the clan name, guys. Don't calm down. It's not being super serious, but it is a really, really strong deck. So you actually have two great answers to Night Witch in your deck too. You have Baby Dragon and Poison, probably two of the best counters to the Night Witch in the game. I'm even starting to see Giant Skeleton used in the top of some tournaments. It's too early to say if he's going to poke his head into the actual meta, but I love when a strong card enters the scene because other cards that previously had no life in the game start to get that spark of life that we've been waiting for. So maybe Giant Skeleton, because his bomb kills the air units as well, will be valuable. That's the reason why your Poison and your Baby Dragon are so good against the Night Witch, so good in this deck, because basically the Baby Dragon will kill the Night Witch because the Night Witch can't target her. He'll also kill the bats from the Night Witch, and then when the Night Witch dies, he'll kill those bats as well. So Baby Dragon, great counter. Also Poison, way better than Fireball because the Poison's going to stick around to kill the bats that spawn upon her death as well. So you have two great answers. Even Goblin Gang isn't bad against the Night Witch. You make up one elixir on the trade, but of course you have to deal with those bats. Spear Goblins can do a decent job against them. So you have some answers in this deck as well. Now, as far as the first 2 minutes versus overtime in this deck, essentially you're going to be doing pretty much the same thing. Now, that's not an answer that I've given you guys a lot on these deck reviews, but Ale says that this deck is one of those decks that, hey, your main strategy both on offense and defense is going to be relatively similar in single elixir time versus double elixir time. Last, best opening plays. Ale says the #1 best opening play for this deck is just Tombstone. You're setting the table, you have a defensive weapon before you drop your Lava Hound. Speaking of Lava Hound, that's your second best starting play. Third best starting play is nothing, just waiting for your opponent to do something. And if you have a really crappy starting hand and you don't want to be patient enough to wait for your opponent, you can go ahead and just split Goblin Gang in the back. That's what I did on my very first replay that I shared in this video with you guys. So let's go ahead and do a little play-by-play here. I kind of want to dive into these matches. We're seeing Ale go against Astronox, who's a really good player from Orange Pulp. Now, he's going against a graveyard, a Splash Yard deck, essentially, and this can be one of the more difficult matchups for this deck. So look at the Baby Dragon and the Night Witch just totally cream that bowler, even with the Tornado, and now they're able to join the main force there. You're using your minor essentially in 3 ways in this deck. The #1 way is as your main tank for all those swarm units on offense. The #2 way is to take care of elixir pumps. If you're going against the 3 Musketeer deck, you can use your minor and poison as you normally would to take down the pumps. And the third way, and this is very important, is with so many people switching the Executioner into their decks to fight the Night Witch, to counter the Night Witch, you're going to be relying on your minor to face that Executioner in the opposite direction. So it's really important that you get rid of the Executioner or you mitigate the effectiveness of the Executioner defensively against you using your minor. So here, Ale lost his right tower first, and again guys, that's going to happen. This deck is not nearly as strong in the first 2 minutes as in double elixir time. Now here comes a big Lava Hound push. Let's watch how he does it here. Sending in that minor right before the Lava Hound dies. The Baby Dragon is on the Night Witch on defense. Look at the Baby Dragon. He doesn't care, man. I don't care about bats, guys. I'm not scared of it. I'm the Baby Dragon. I'm the best counter to Night Witch. So you can can see Baby Dragon making his way to that right tower. He got a lot of damage done off that right tower, but he needs to get another big push in the right lane here, and he has that left tower, oh, very closely to poison range. So with only 37 seconds, it's up to Ale to make sure that he capitalizes on this push, dropping the Night Witch way in the back there. Now, if people people lightning your Night Witch, it's not a big deal. I mean, obviously you don't want her to die, but those bats upon her death are really what makes her so powerful, especially in this deck. So Ale sends in the miner on the left, and he has the big push going on the right. A pretty good defensive move there, but he's able to take it down into poison distance again, and it's going to be GG again here for Ale. And just what a good job he's doing. By the way, guys, I meant to say this in the beginning of the video, shame on me, but I'm wishing you guys in the States, United States, my country, a very, very happy Memorial Day weekend. And I just want to give a shout out to everybody who's lost their life fighting to, help ours. So huge shout out to all our soldiers and our troops and our veterans. Also, it's the beginning of Ramadan, and I know I have a lot of Muslim viewers, so I just wanted to wish each and every one of you guys a very happy holiday, no matter where you are in the world. So, back to this match here. We're going to keep it going, guys. So we have a Golem Lightning Night Witch deck. Now, I'm sure some of you guys probably think this deck is better than Ale's deck, right? But, I think he would disagree here. Now, watch how powerful the Night Witch can be defensively against the Golem here, okay? So, Night Witch placed in the bat. She's already spawned 6 bats there. I was waiting for it. 6 bats, and when she dies, she's gonna spawn 4 more. So even, oh, look at this. It's just, the Golem can't even get to the tower because of all these bats. And his Night Witch, the opponent's there, Tenasui's Night Witch dies, and look at that. That big monster push, only resulted in a couple hundred damage off the tower. We're still in the lead here, guys. So now, if the opponent's going to go ahead and pump up, well, hey, we're going to go pretty aggressive here. Drop off the Lava Hound in the back. By the way, you saw on the banner there, Plex Chat tourney, 15 minutes left. If any of you guys are looking for daily tournaments, I host one every single day in Plex Chat in the Clash Royale community Plex. So go ahead and download Plex Chat and join there if you want free tournaments every day. So, back to the match here. Again, you're going to see this Night Witch do work. She's already at 6 spawn bats, and she's going to be meleeing the tank as well. The Golem, again, doesn't even get to the tower. Look at all those bats eat away at the Golemites, and look at that. They don't even die when the Golemites die. This is insane. I tell you what, man. Night Witch, for 4 elixir, I've never seen such value, and she has the same HP as a bandit. Are you kidding me? It seems like she should be the most fragile unit in the game for how much power you're getting out of her, but no, her HP is on the same level as a bandit. I mean, she can actually, she's not a tank, but she can glass tank for a while. She can hold her own. She can absolutely obliterate a knight. So a very strong card. Now, 97 HP left on that right tower. The poor opponent here can't even get the Golem to Alice tower here. He's setting up again with the Lava Hound, Night Witch. Okay, he eats it on that lightning. No big deal. All the bats are going to swarm that Golem. He's able to cycle back to the tombstone, get another tombstone on the board. Oh, we see a Night Witch coming our way. No big deal. We're going to drop that Baby Dragon on the Night Witch. Night Witch is down. Bats are down. Another Golem at the bridge. No big deal. We're gonna go ahead and Goblin Gang it, and then we're going to go ahead and drop another Night Witch. And again, stopping that Golem before he can barely even get to the tower. Just absolutely devastating work on defense for Ale, or I guess really good work if we're looking at it from his perspective. So that was a really nice win. Let's go ahead and show one more replay here. I'll tell you what, guys, this is the future of Lava Hound decks, and I gotta be honest with you, even though people are gonna complain about Night Witch being OP, it's nice to see something other than just LavaLoon, right? It's nice to see a Lava Hound deck without the balloon in it. At least to me it is. So going on this last match here, we're going against Cornet. or Cornetto, excuse me. And we're going to start out with the best play you can start out with, a Tombstone. Now, some people would probably say that starting out with a Lava Hound is totally fine or just as good as starting out with the Tombstone. But like I said, Ale really prefers to have that defensive buffer before he goes ahead and executes his first big Lava Hound push. Now, check out this. The Lava Hound was like the second to last card in cycle here, so definitely a bad starting hand for Ale. So he knows he's going to take some big damage here in this left lane. And here it comes. It's a giant Night Witch baby dragon. So he knows, again, he's going to be taking some damage, so he has to do whatever he can. The opponent uses a poison there. He's using his Goblin Gang on the Night Witch, baby dragon on the bats from the Night Witch, and then he uses his own Night Witch on the Golem. So he really could have, that push could have been much, much worse. He loses half his tower health, but considering he had such a bad starting hand, and that this deck isn't the strongest deck in the first 2 minutes of the match, it was pretty good. I think walking away with 15-10 left on the tower is okay. Remember, guys, with this deck, you have to be okay with taking damage. Don't panic, don't give up, okay? Even if he was to lose his tower there, I'll tell you what, in my run, I actually went 11-0, and then I lost 2 in a row, and then I just barely won my 12th win. And a lot of those matches, I was down early. So definitely don't stress out about it, okay, guys? So here, just getting a lot of value out of this poison, getting the Night Witch, getting some of her bats, or getting half the Night Witch HP along with some of her bats, using his Night Witch to take down that giant as well before it even makes contact with that Tombstone. The Night Witch is almost going to die here, and then the tower will be able to one-shot those bats. Meanwhile, the Miner is tanking for a lot of those pups. We get his tower down to 735 HP. We'll take that all day. Goblin Gang doing a good job here distracting that baby dragon, keeping him away from that tower, and now we are in the lead going in to overtime, or not, going into double elixir time. I don't know why I always say overtime. It's awful, guys. I'm awful. So here we are. We're going to go ahead and handle the giant just like we talked about. This is a big, big push for the opponent here, but we're going to defend it pretty well. And there we go. That's the Lava Hound at the bridge, essentially tanking for all these troops, and there's nothing the opponent can do here to stop this push, ladies and gentlemen. We have a poison, a Night Witch, a million bats, and a baby dragon. This is our ideal push that we talked about in the beginning of the video, and sure enough, there goes the tower. Staying on the aggressive offensive stance is Ale, sending in the Miner and the Goblin Gang in the right lane. You're going to use that essentially how you would a normal match, and Ale is going in for the 3 crown here. He just doesn't have enough time, but boom, what a devastating end to this match for poor Cornetto. That is going to do it for this video, guys. Man, this deck is strong. Man, do you guys have any really good Night Witch decks that I haven't talked about or that we haven't covered in today's video? Go ahead and drop me a line in the comments below. A reminder that I always respond to every single comment, or at least every single comment that I see in the first hour after my videos. So if you want to get in touch with me, if you have any channel feedback, good or bad, I want to hear it all, guys. So be sure to drop me a comment. My favorite part of this is really interacting with you guys. So guys, thank you so much to Ale for sharing his tips in the deck. Thank you so much to my YouTube partner, Bren Chong. Check out his information in the description below. And thank you so much to all of you guys. I really appreciate the continued support. So guys, thanks for watching. And as always, take care, guys.